Okay, so I buy pipe clamps to use in my shop for different projects I have, and I'm on a limited budget, so I don't normally buy new clamps. I buy used clamps. I buy them at garage sales or pawn shops or just wherever I can get a hold of them. And my favorite are the Pony. This is a Pony clamp. You can see where it says Pony. It's made by Jorgensen. So it's either a Pony or a Jorgensen. These are orange. That's their trademark. They come in all sorts of different shapes and colors. These are my favorite ones, but this will also work for trying to find a different clamp that'll work for you. So a couple quick things. We'll just start at the top, work our way down. When you get a clamp, just check and make sure that it does rotate and it does work all the way to the end. If it's a little tight or kind of rough, a little bit of WD-40 will work on that. Only on these threads though. If you put them on the pipe, this won't work with the WD-40. But a couple quick things about this. I have an old clamp that I bought for a project that I needed. It is missing the crank on the end, which I can replace the crank with a 3/8 wrench. It'll just hook on and I can tighten it. But it's not quite as valuable to me because I need to have a wrench. Something else with them is if this base comes loose, it gets to be kind of a pain to work with. This one, somebody had kind of put it together with a nail to hold it together, and it works, but it's a way to poke myself in a project. Usually when you're trying to clamp, you're not worried about the clamp as much as getting everything done. It doesn't quite make it. What it is there is a tab here. If you see this one here, this one is a lot bigger. Jorgensen made an improvement to where they allowed it to be higher, which you can see, here's two in here, a short one and a high one. This short one, can't crank it, but this one I can. But something I'm looking for is to make sure that the top and bottom match, so I don't have a mixed set where they're changed. That's one thing I'm looking for. Another thing is the pipe. When these were first purchased, this is what you bought. Usually came with a little protector for the threads. I'll get into that in a second. And then you go out and you buy a pipe. Well, you just take this, you can release it here. It should be spring loaded. This should be a good spring. Slide it in. It'll slide this way, but it won't push back. And then the clamp just threads onto the threads of the pipe. And that's how you set them up. So you can always get new pipes from them. You can have a collection of pipes that are different sizes that you can use with your clamps as well. Something else to look for is the straightness of the pipe. If the pipe isn't straight, it'll still work. It just won't work that great for you. Here's that same old pipe clamp I've got. And if you look, you can see daylight here. You can see daylight here, but there's no daylight here. This pipe bows like this. An easy way to check for that when you're just looking is just to move the crank out of the way, get this lined up, see a circle right on the very end. That means this is a round pipe that's straight all the way through. If the circle is not totally round on the end, that means your pipe's got a little bit of a bend. Something else to look for, this has got a shiny silver pipe, which is kind of like a galvanized pipe. It's not exactly a galvanized pipe. Galvanized pipe does not work with this. This will keep it from working. This looks like galvanized. It might be galvanized. It does work on this. This pipe's been working great. But if you buy it and it's slipping, you might need to replace the galvanized. I also have a video on how to repair these. One thing else to look for is the ends of your pipe. You can see the threads here. It's got some paint or something else on it. The Jorgensen clamps, when they came from the factory, usually came with this little adapter that screws onto the end. And basically the only reason it's there is to protect your threads. Another one, this is a clamp that I bought a pipe for, and I just kept the cap that came on it from the hardware store. The reason this is important is if this clamp isn't quite long enough and I need a longer clamp, I could go buy another pipe, or kind of thread this or slide this off. It just slides right off by, this is what allows it to slide back and forth. Just slide it off, slide on a coupler, I should be able to take the head off of another clamp. And thread it in. And now I just increase the length of my clamp by at least double. So that is why that is like that. But when you're looking for these, look for straight pipe clamps. If I have my choice, I'm finding ones that have the part that sticks out just a little bit farther, so I don't have to worry about the clamp popping up and down on me, but it will still work. And it's got a little bit of rust on them. These clamps will work great. You can also test to make sure everything works good by pushing them together and just making sure it tightens. You don't have to have anything but itself to check that. And you can see here it's got, this has got the 4 bars in there to allow it to stop. And it's smooth here, where a newer one has another tab right here so you can adjust it here if you need to also. But that's what I look for.